Hello and welcome to another very short video in our Anomaly Intelligence series. So in this example, I'm going to be digging a little bit more into the Anomali STAXX solution. So that's the Hailataxii client to download and view threat intelligence. In the previous example I actually used the Anomali Limo service. It's pre-configured, ready to run. In this example, it's a little bit shorter, but I'm actually going to implement and use this with a different taxi feed. In this example, I'm actually going to use Hailataxii. So again, just like the last one, I haven't gone through the full setup of the OVA in your virtualization platform of choice. Just follow the PDF instructions that come with the download. It is a free download. Just follow those instructions and it'll guide you through the whole process, specifically about changing and setting up passwords. I don't want to go through that because it actually lists out the default passwords. It is in the documentation, but you do need to change those, and it's not really worth too much actually illustrating that process. If there is a demand, I'll actually go through that as well, but it's actually very straightforward. So when you actually boot it up and you get an IP address, you connect to that IP address specifically, and you'll get this initial landing screen. So what I'm going to do is I'll use a different taxi service, click the link, and we need to add in what we call a site. The site is the actual top level URL where you need to connect to using the taxi protocol, and then it will then identify the particular feeds and allow you to download them. So in this example, I'm actually going to use Hailataxii. Hailataxii. And then you need the discovery URL. Now, if you actually just go to hailataxii.com, you'll see this specifically. So this is the landing page you'll get. So it's a repository of open source cyber intelligence. You'll see that there's the discovery URL. So let me just copy and paste. You'll also notice that there is actually a simple basic authentication that's required, that is guest and guest. So let me just copy that to save me typing it. We want to do basic authentication. Username is guest, password is guest. And then we do discover. We give it a second or two to actually connect up to the discovery URL and identify the feeds. And there we go. We've got a whole bunch of feeds that are available. So again, we've got the open source here. So we've got abuse.ch, got some cybercrime tracker, emerging threats, and we've got some Tor exits, some data for the last 7 days, some DShield and Fish Tank as well, and some default data there as well. The whole point here is we can now actually select the individual feeds that we want. Actually, I want them all. There is only 11 available. Again, if I just flick back to the Hailataxii webpage, you'll see that the actual feeds there are generically provided. And this is just open source intelligence there. So let me just flick back to my STAXX page. You click next. I'm choosing the feeds that we want to use. Let's try STAXX. Again, what we need to do is it points in the direction for the administration guides. Do heavily recommend going to there, and we need to accept the end user license agreement. So we hit agree, and we need to let it download the latest set of data from the Hailataxii service. Of course, what we can do is we can actually just go to the settings, and we can see the information here. There is a default password set, so I probably should change that on the actual VM itself. It's just reminding me to do that. And we can see that we have the pre-configured Anomali Limo, which is, we haven't actually finished doing the configuration. We didn't want to use that in this example, but we are using the Hailataxii. So we can actually go in and view this, and we can actually see all the various we can actually see all the available feeds that we're actually polling. You can see it's actually still running these, but you can start to see that some of the data is coming through. There's not a huge volume with regards to this. It builds up over time as indicators do change and update and get added to the actual various data feeds themselves. So we do need to let that finish and take a closer look at what's going on. So we can see there's already some data here. And of course, if we go to the activity tab, we can actually see that there is a whole bunch of data already appearing in the system specifically as well. And of course, just like with the Anomaly feed, for Limo, we can actually click and dig into those particular indicators as well. So we can actually click on one. It takes us to a new tab, and we'll get the data for that particular one. So just like with the Anomali Limo feed, where we have that intelligence that's matching. So we'll see that in this case we've got I've got a URL here. So in this case we can see we've got a URL here. We've got confidence here, so it's scored out of 100, so we're relatively confident around the data. But in this example we can see the severity is very high. This is a phishing URL. It's linked to a particular IP address, and we can see some data as actually pretty recent for when this video is recorded. We can dig a little bit further down where we've got some additional enrichment that we can add. For example, what's the country, what's the ASN, and in this case, what's the domain registration that's associated with it as well. It's all starting to look a little bit suspicious with regards to this. And of course, from an analyst point of view, I can actually jump out from my URL and go to external links here, things like virus total and URL void, to see what's going on too. But we do have some intelligence here. It is coming as part of the OpenFish feed. We can see what the IP address was that was associated with it when this intelligence was reported. And of course, further to that, we're going to get the additional passive DNS that's matched to this as well. And of course, as an analyst, should I jump into this, of course, I can now go through the actual IP address data and dig into that in further analysis to see what that's referring to, where it's located, what the additional relevance is to as well. But more importantly, I've been able to get that data into Anomali STAXX just using the Hailataxii service and actually see that data very quickly and very easily. So again, if I just flick back to my STAXX view here, go back to my dashboards, we can see we're already starting getting a lot more data already starting to come in. We're only viewing the last 7 days, and we can see it's already starting to flesh out as part of that download. And again, if I flick back to my discovery, actually I can go back to the view here, and it's still reminding me to change my default password, which I should do. Absolutely. We can see the additional polls. We're getting thousands of indicators now. So it gives you an indication of the speed of the download of the data and how long it will take. And as you can see, it actually doesn't take that long as I'm pulling down and displaying some of that data as well. So it's a very powerful, very easy way of doing things. Of course, what I could do is if I just close that, I can also use the Anomali Limo one as well. So let me click view there. And what I can do is I can then just do the discover, get the available feeds, and enable those as I need them as well. So, for example, I'm already getting PhishChank, I'm already getting AbuseCH, but I could add additional things like the Anomaly threat briefings and Lehigh malware domains, malware domain hot list, for example, and just poll against those as well. Very simple, very easy, and now just start pulling the data down for those too. So that's a very quick walkthrough from the Anomali STAXX product, what we can do, what we can see, how we can very quickly and easily integrate the Hailataxii taxi service into it, and actually just start using it and digging through some of that intelligence that's available. So thank you very much for your time.